The storm on the alien moon roared like a monster. Lightning flashed across the purple sky, and broken metal from a crashed ship lay scattered across the rocky ground. Commander Ryan Hale crawled out from under a burning wing, his uniform torn, his breathing hard. He had survived the crash, but his crew had not. The wind cut through him like ice. The air was thin and glowing, full of strange silver dust that shimmered in the dark. He tried to stand, but his leg gave out. He stumbled, fell to his knees, and thought, "This is how I die." But then 2 shapes appeared through the dust, tall, slender, and moving gracefully. Their glowing white eyes were the first things he saw. Then came their voices, soft and melodic like a song carried by the wind. "Human," one of them whispered. "He's alive," Ryan blinked. 2 women stood before him, though they were not human. Their skin shimmered faint blue under the moonlight. Their hair floated softly as if underwater. They were beautiful and strange, like something made of light. The taller one knelt beside him and pressed her glowing hand to his chest. A warm energy flowed through his body. His pain started to fade. "Who are you?" Ryan managed to whisper. The taller one looked into his eyes. "I am Lyra, and this is my sister Sarah. You are safe now, human." Before he could say more, everything went dark. When Ryan woke, he was inside a small shelter built from crystal walls that shone like glass. A soft blue fire burned in the middle. His wounds were gone, healed overnight. His uniform was cleaned and folded beside him. He sat up slowly. Lyra was sitting by the fire, humming quietly, while Sarah watched him with unreadable eyes. "You should rest," Lyra said without turning. "Your body is weak." Ryan looked around. The air felt heavy with mystery. He didn't trust them completely, and not yet. Something in their calm faces felt too calm. He remembered how they had looked at each other when they found him, almost like they had been waiting for him. "Thank you," Ryan said carefully. "But where am I?" Sarah's lips curled into a small smile. "Far from your world, human. You crashed near the border of the Velaran lands. Few outsiders live long enough to see this place, Velaran." He had heard that name before, in secret space reports. A hidden alien race, dangerous, brilliant, mysterious. He forced a smile. "Then I owe you my life." Lyra turned to him finally. "Maybe. Or maybe you owe us the truth." Ryan frowned. "The truth?" But she didn't answer. Instead, she rose and left the shelter with Sarah, speaking in their own language, a soft mix of tones and whispers. Ryan couldn't understand the words, but the sound made his skin tingle. Something was off. That night, Ryan made a choice. He would pretend to sleep and listen. He needed to know who they really were and what they wanted from him. The fire burned low. Shadows danced on the crystal walls. Ryan lay still under the soft blanket they gave him, his eyes half open. Lyra and Sarah returned, their steps silent as mist. They sat close to the fire, whispering again. Ryan kept his breathing slow and steady, pretending to dream. "He is stronger than I expected," Lyra said quietly. "Stronger does not mean ready," Sarah replied. "You know what the Queen said. We must test the human heart before dawn." Ryan's blood ran cold. "Test the human heart? I know," Lyra sighed. "But look at him. He's not like the others. His energy feels pure. He might be the one." "Don't let feelings blind you," Sarah warned. "If he fails, we erase him." "Erase?" Ryan almost gasped but held still. His heart pounded. Lyra looked toward him, and for a second Ryan thought she knew he was awake. She moved closer, kneeling beside him. He could feel her warmth near his face. Her fingers hovered above his chest, glowing faintly blue. "He dreams," she whispered softly. "Humans dream of love, fear, and hope. Such strange things." Her hand brushed his cheek, gentle, curious. Maybe that's why the Queen fears them. Ryan's heart skipped a beat. He wanted to open his eyes to ask her what she meant. But he forced himself to stay still. Then he heard Sarah's voice, wanted colder now. "Be careful, sister. If he senses the truth, everything will fall apart." Lyra withdrew her hand slowly, looking at him one last time. "He must never know what we're planning," she whispered. Ryan's body tensed under the blanket. Every nerve screamed at him to move, to run, to fight, but he couldn't. He had to wait. He had to know more. The fire dimmed. Their voices faded. The alien night fell silent. And as Ryan lay there, pretending to sleep, one thought echoed in his mind. What are they planning to do to me? He didn't know it yet, But this was only the beginning of a test that would change the fate of two worlds, and his heart forever. The morning light on the alien moon was strange. It wasn't yellow or white like Earth's sun. It was soft silver spreading across the sky like fog. When Ryan Hale opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was Lyra sitting near the fire, quietly grinding glowing herbs into a small bowl. For a moment, he forgot where he was. Then everything from last night came rushing back. The whispers, the words test the human heart, and Lyra's hand brushing his face. He kept his face calm, pretending he had slept peacefully. "Good morning," he said, his voice rough. Lyra looked up, her bright eyes calm. "You slept well." "Like a rock," he lied. Behind her, Sarah was already awake, polishing a strange weapon that looked half organic, half metal. She didn't look at him, but Ryan could feel her cold gaze on him anyway. Lyra handed him a small bowl of warm, glowing liquid. "Drink this. It will help your strength." Ryan hesitated. The smell was sweet but sharp, like electricity. "What is it?" Lyra smiled softly. "It's safe. I made it myself." He took a small sip. It was warm and tingled down his throat, sending energy through his body. Within seconds, his pain faded and his heartbeat steadied. "Impressive," he said, surprised. "Your medicine works better than ours." Lyra tilted her head. "We heal with energy, not chemicals. But human bodies, they respond strangely." Ryan forced a small laugh. "Strangely how?" Sarah finally spoke, her voice cold and firm. "Because your kind hides emotions behind logic. Your heart speaks one thing, your mouth says another." That made Ryan pause. He almost asked how she knew that, but stopped himself. These sisters seemed to sense everything, even thoughts. Lyra gave Sarah a warning glance. "Enough. He doesn't need your lectures." Ryan noticed something new, a soft glow under the sisters' skin. It pulsed like a heartbeat, faintly visible around their necks. And when Lyra looked at him, her glow changed. It brightened just slightly. He looked down quickly, pretending not to notice. As the day went on, Lyra showed Ryan the area outside their crystal shelter. The alien landscape was breathtaking. Forests of tall, glass-like trees and rivers that shimmered like liquid light. The air hummed faintly like the planet itself was alive. Ryan kept his eyes open, but his mind raced. Every word, every glance between the sisters seemed to hide something. They collected fruit from a glowing vine. Lyra handed him one. "Careful, it bites back if you squeeze it too hard." He laughed lightly, trying to act normal. But he noticed Sarah watching them from a distance, silent, her expression unreadable. "You two seem different," Ryan said quietly. "You're sisters, right?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, born of the same energy source, yet opposite in spirit. Sarah follows rules. I follow curiosity." "And curiosity made you save a human." Lyra looked away, her voice turning soft. "Maybe curiosity, or maybe fate." Before Ryan could ask more, Sarah's sharp voice cut through the air. "Lyra, a word." The sisters stepped away to speak privately near the river. Ryan couldn't hear everything, but he caught fragments. Queen, danger, erase, and heart. His chest tightened. He pretended to examine the fruit while his mind worked fast. "They're hiding something big. Maybe I'm not their guest. Maybe I'm their experiment." That night, the silver storm returned. Lightning flashed again, painting their crystal shelter in bright light. Ryan lay down, pretending to sleep once more. The sisters whispered near the fire. Their soft voices mixed with the hum of the storm. "He's adapting quickly," Sarah said. "Too quickly." "That means he might survive the resonance," Lyra replied. Ryan's eyes stayed closed, but his pulse jumped. "Resonance? Do you trust him?" Sarah asked. "I don't know yet," Lyra answered. "But when I look at him, I feel something I've never felt before." "That's dangerous," Sarah warned. "You know what happens when a Velaran bonds with a human?" Lyra's voice trembled slightly. "Maybe this time it will be different." Sarah's tone turned sharp. "If he fails, you'll lose more than your heart. You'll lose your mind." Ryan could barely breathe. They were planning something involving him, something emotional, maybe physical, something he didn't understand yet. Then came the part that made his heart race faster than any battle. Lyra whispered, "If he truly has a heart worth saving, I'll find out tonight." Footsteps moved closer. Ryan kept still, eyes shut, heart thundering in his chest. He felt Lyra kneel beside him again. Her breath was soft against his ear. "Humans pretend to sleep when they're scared," she whispered. "But your heart never lies, Ryan Hale." For a second he thought she knew. But then her hand brushed his chest gently and she smiled. "Let's see what truth your dreams will show me." The air shimmered faintly blue as she touched him, and Ryan felt warmth spreading through his body. Strange. Calm and electric. He wanted to open his eyes. But the warmth grew stronger, almost pulling him into real sleep. And just before he drifted off, he heard Lyra whisper one last thing to Sarah. "He might be the one the stars spoke about." Then everything went black, and the test of the human heart truly began. When Ryan Hale opened his eyes the next morning, the world around him didn't look the same. The walls of the crystal shelter glowed brighter than before, and the air itself seemed alive, pulsing softly with light. For a second he thought he was still dreaming. Then he saw Lyra standing near the entrance, her long silver hair catching the morning glow. She looked peaceful, and yet somehow distant. "You're awake," she said softly. "Good, the storm has passed. Today you'll see what lives beyond our shelter." Ryan sat up slowly, still remembering the warmth from her hand the night before, and the strange energy that had made him fall asleep. His body felt lighter, faster, stronger. Whatever she had done to him, it had changed something inside. "Where are we going?" he asked, pretending not to be nervous. "To the Heart Forest," Lyra replied. "It's where truth cannot hide." Before he could ask what that meant, Sarah appeared. Her sharp eyes landed on him like twin blades. "Don't wander too far," she warned. "The forest knows fear." Ryan almost smiled. "I'll keep that in mind." They stepped outside. The alien world spread before them like a dream. Silver grass that whispered when stepped on, floating seeds that glowed like fireflies, and trees that shimmered with crystal bark. The sound of their footsteps echoed faintly as if the ground itself was listening. Lyra walked ahead, her steps silent, graceful. Ryan followed, still unsure what kind of test this would be. After a while, Lyra stopped beside a pool of glowing blue water. "Do you hear it?" she asked. Ryan listened. At first there was only silence. Then faintly he heard a soft hum, a rhythm almost like a heartbeat. "It's coming from the water," he said quietly. Lyra nodded. "It's the forest's pulse. It can sense thoughts, emotions, even lies. If you touch the water with a false heart, it burns." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Sounds friendly." Lyra smiled a little. "Don't worry. Just be honest." He knelt beside the pool and dipped his hand in. The water was cool and then suddenly warm, glowing brighter where his fingers touched. It didn't burn. Instead, the surface rippled, showing faint images. His crew, his ship, his past on Earth. Lyra's eyes softened. "You carry much pain," Ryan sighed. "Everyone loses something out here. Space doesn't forgive mistakes." Lyra stepped closer. "Yet you still dream, humans. Always dreaming, even when your world ends. That's why the Queen fears your kind." Her words made him pause. "The Queen fears humans? Why?" She looked away as if afraid to speak. "Because our energy reacts to yours. It awakens emotions we were trained to forget." Ryan's heart beat faster. "Like what emotions?" Lyra hesitated, then whispered, "Hope." Before he could respond, a loud screech echoed through the forest. The water rippled violently. Lyra's eyes widened. "Hide!" From between the glowing trees, shadowy creatures appeared, tall beasts with crystal armor and 4 glowing eyes. Their claws tore the ground as they moved. Ryan ducked behind a rock, grabbing a sharp piece of metal from his crashed uniform belt. "What are they?" "Forest guardians," Lyra said quickly. "They sense fear. Stay calm." Ryan looked at her, calm, glowing, fearless, and wondered how she could speak so gently while danger moved closer. One of the beasts turned its head toward them. Its 4 eyes flared red. "Too late," she whispered. The creature leaped. Ryan reacted on instinct, rolling aside and striking with his metal shard. It glanced off the beast's crystal hide. Lyra raised her hand, sending a wave of blue energy that stunned it, but another came from behind. Without thinking, Ryan pushed her aside and took the hit. The beast's claw cut across his shoulder, searing pain, hot and deep. Lyra gasped. "Ryan!" He gritted his teeth. "I'm fine, just run." But she didn't. Instead, her eyes glowed bright silver. She placed both hands on the ground and a surge of light exploded outward, sending all the beasts crashing back into the forest. When the light faded, She fell to her knees, trembling. Ryan caught her before she hit the ground. "You saved me," she whispered weakly. "You saved me first," he said, smiling through the pain. Her fingers brushed his wound, and within seconds the cut sealed itself. She looked at him with wonder. "Your energy." It answered mine. "That's impossible." Ryan laughed softly. "I get that a lot." When they returned to the shelter, Sarah was waiting, furious. "You took him to the heart forest?" She snapped. "Lyra, are you insane? If the Queen senses this bond, she'll destroy you both." Lyra's eyes glowed faintly, defiant. "He protected me, Sarah. A human protected a Velaran." Sarah's expression hardened. "Then the test has already begun." Ryan frowned. "What test? What are you talking about?" Sarah looked at him coldly. "You're not just here to heal, human. You're here to prove whether your kind deserves to exist beside ours." Ryan froze. "And if I fail?" Sarah's answer was quiet but sharp as a blade. "Then you'll be erased. Body, mind, and memory." Lyra stepped in front of him. "Not if I can stop it." Ryan stared at them both, his heart pounding. He had no idea what kind of power he had awakened, but one thing was clear. The real test was only beginning. The air inside the crystal shelter had grown tense and heavy. Every word that Sarah had spoken still echoed in Ryan Hale's mind. "You're here to prove whether your kind deserves to exist beside ours." He stared at the alien sisters, still trying to understand. "What do you mean, prove? I didn't volunteer for any test." Sarah folded her arms, her voice cold. "You didn't have to. Your presence is already part of it." Lyra stepped between them, her tone softer but filled with guilt. "Sarah, enough. He deserves the truth." Ryan's heart pounded. "Then tell me." Lyra turned toward him slowly. "Long ago, our queen ordered experiments to understand human emotion. We studied it, tried to copy it, but every attempt ended in failure." Ryan frowned. "Why failure?" Lyra's glowing eyes dimmed. "Because emotion isn't data, Ryan, it's chaos. When Velarans feel too deeply, we lose control of our energy. It destroys us," Sarah interrupted, her voice sharp. "That's why the Queen banned it. Love, sadness, hope. They are poison to us." But still Lyra disobeyed. Ryan blinked, stunned. "Disobeyed?" Lyra looked down. "I asked to study humans again, not to hurt them, but to learn why they survive pain when we cannot. When your ship crashed, I felt your life energy. It was strong, stubborn, full of emotion. I thought, maybe you were the one. The one for what?" Ryan asked quietly. She met his eyes. "The one who could survive the resonance bond." The words sounded strange, but something in her tone sent a chill down his spine. Sarah sighed. "The resonance bond is forbidden. It links two beings, one Velaran, one human, through their hearts. If the connection fails, both minds break." Ryan stared at them. "And you were going to do that to me without asking?" Lyra stepped closer, her expression filled with regret. "I wanted to ask, but I feared you'd say no." He took a step back. "You think?" For a moment, the air between them crackled with silence. Outside, faint thunder rolled across the horizon. Sarah broke the quiet first. "Enough talk. The Queen already knows. Her patrol will be here soon." Lyra's eyes widened. "You told her?" Sarah looked away. "It was my duty." Ryan clenched his fists. "So what now?" "You hand me over for your experiment?" Sarah didn't answer. The crystal walls around them began to hum, faint vibrations that grew louder each second. Lyra turned to him, panic rising in her voice. "They're here. The patrol's energy field, and it's closing in." Ryan's instincts kicked in. "Then we run." Sarah stepped in front of the doorway. "You can't escape. The Queen's eyes are everywhere." Lyra faced her sister, her voice trembling. "Please, Sarah, don't do this. You know what they'll do to him." Sarah's gaze softened for a brief moment, but she shook her head. "If they find out I helped you, they'll erase me too." Ryan didn't wait for another word. He grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her toward the back wall. "There's always another way." Lyra's crystal bracelet glowed bright blue. She pressed it against the wall and a hidden door opened, revealing a tunnel filled with soft white light. "This way," she whispered. "It leads to the Echo Caverns. They won't follow us there." They ran through the glowing passage as alarms echoed behind them. The air shimmered with static. The Echo Caverns were unlike anything Ryan had ever seen. Giant crystal pillars rose from the ground, singing softly as energy waves passed through them. The light there was alive. shifting colors like breath. Lyra stopped, catching her breath. We're safe. For now. Ryan looked around in awe. What is this place? Lyra smiled sadly. It's where Velarans used to bond before the Queen banned emotion. Every crystal here holds memories of love, fear, and loss. As she spoke, faint images flickered inside the crystals. Lovers holding hands, families smiling, soldiers saying goodbye. The air felt heavy with sorrow and beauty. Ryan turned to her. You came here before, didn't you? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, once. With someone I loved. He waited quietly. She continued, her voice soft. He was human. He came here during the old wars. He promised peace between our races. But when we bonded, the energy was too strong. It burned his mind and my world. Ryan's chest tightened. And you still believe this can work again? Her eyes glowed faintly, filled with fragile hope. I have to. Because if it does, maybe our people can finally understand what your kind calls heart. Ryan stepped closer. And if it doesn't? Lyra smiled sadly. Then I will finally understand why humans call it love. Before he could answer, a loud rumble shook the cavern. The crystal walls flashed red. Lyra's face turned pale. They've tracked us. The patrol found the entrance. Ryan looked around desperately. Is there another way out? She shook her head. No, but there's one thing left to try. She grabbed his hand, pressing it to the glowing floor. If we bond now, we might have enough energy to escape. But it will be dangerous. Ryan's pulse thundered in his chest. You said if it fails, we both die. Lyra met his eyes, steady and brave. Yes, but if we do nothing, we die anyway. Outside, the sound of the Queen's soldiers grew louder. Footsteps like thunder, energy weapons charging. Ryan looked at Lyra's trembling hand in his. For the first time, he saw fear. Not alien fear, but something human. He tightened his grip. Then let's make it count. Lyra smiled faintly, tears glimmering in her eyes. You really are different, Ryan Hale. As they knelt together, the crystals around them began to pulse faster, reacting to their touch. The air filled with bright blue light swirling around them like a storm. Sarah's voice echoed from the entrance, shouting, Stop! You'll destroy everything. But it was too late. Lyra whispered, Resonance, begin. The cavern exploded in light, and everything turned white. Blinding light filled the echo caverns. It was as if the stars themselves had exploded around Ryan Hale and Lyra. The crystal pillars trembled, singing in strange, haunting tones. The energy from their hands spread through the ground, racing along the walls like fire. Ryan couldn't see anything, only feel. His heart pounded like thunder, and the air hummed against his skin. He tried to pull away, but Lyra's grip was strong, her eyes glowing bright silver. Don't let go, she said, her voice shaking. The bond hasn't settled yet. Ryan gritted his teeth. I thought this was supposed to help us escape, not melt the planet. Lyra smiled faintly through the chaos. You're still alive. That means it's working. The blinding light faded little by little, and the cavern grew quiet again, except for the soft hum of the crystals. When Ryan looked down, he saw faint blue lines glowing across his skin, tracing the same patterns that shimmered on Lyra's arms. What did you do to me? He whispered. Lyra looked at him with a mix of pride and sadness. We are bonded now. Your energy and mine connected. Ryan stared in disbelief. And that means... What exactly? She hesitated. It means if one of us dies. The other feels it. Ryan blinked. Great, no pressure. Before they could speak again, a sudden crack echoed through the cavern. A shock wave of blue dust burst from the tunnel's entrance. Sarah stumbled in, her armor torn, her weapon glowing. Behind her, shadows moved. The Velaran patrol had arrived. You fools, Sarah shouted, her voice full of panic. The Queen sent the execution wing. They'll kill you both. Lyra grabbed Ryan's arm. We have to go, now. Sarah's expression softened for a moment. She looked at her sister, at the glow connecting her to the human, and her voice broke. Lyra, what have you done? Lyra's eyes shimmered. What I had to. Energy blasts struck the walls, sending shards of crystal flying. Ryan ducked behind a pillar. We can argue later. Which way out? Lyra pointed to a narrow tunnel on the far side of the cavern. Through there. The resonance field might hide us. Sarah hesitated, then raised her weapon and fired a blue shockwave toward the soldiers, buying them a few seconds. Go, I'll hold them off. Lyra shook her head. No, Sarah, come with us. But Sarah didn't move. Her glowing eyes were full of conflict, torn between loyalty and love. If I leave, the Queen will hunt us all. If I stay, maybe I can mislead them. Ryan stepped closer. You'll die if you stay. Sarah's lips curved into a small, sad smile. Then make sure it means something. Another explosion shook the ground. Lyra's hand trembled as she reached out to her sister one last time. I'm sorry. Sarah touched her fingers briefly. Don't be. Just survive. Then she turned and faced the soldiers alone, light flaring around her. Lyra pulled Ryan through the tunnel. The passage was narrow, filled with glowing mist and vibrating crystals. The walls seemed to whisper as they ran. What's that sound? Ryan asked breathlessly. Lyra answered without slowing down. The bond is growing. Our energy is sinking. Ryan frowned. It feels like it's reading my thoughts. She gave him a small smile. It is. I can feel your heartbeat. Your fear. Your hope. Ryan stumbled for a moment, her words making him blush despite the danger. Then you must know I'm terrified right now. Lyra laughed softly. I do, but your courage is louder. The tunnel opened into a wide chamber filled with floating crystals, hundreds of them, slowly circling a glowing blue core. The sight was breathtaking. Ryan stopped. What is this place? Lyra looked up in awe. The heart nexus, it's the core of this world's energy. If we reach the center, we can use the bond to send a signal, maybe even open a gate to your world. Ryan nodded. Then let's finish this. But before they could move, the ground shook violently. Cracks spread across the floor. From behind them, a roar echoed, and the soldiers entered the chamber, their armor glowing with red light. Lyra grabbed Ryan's hand. There's no time. You'll have to trust me. I already did, he said quickly. And look how that turned out. She smiled faintly. Then trust me again. She pulled him toward the glowing core. The crystals spun faster, reacting to their presence. Energy whipped around them like wind. The bond between them pulsed brighter, blue veins of light running across both their bodies. A voice boomed from behind, deep, mechanical, and cold. Lyra of the Velarans, you have defied the Queen's command. Surrender the human or be erased. Lyra turned, her face calm but resolute. Tell the Queen. Emotions cannot be erased. With that, she pressed both hands to the core. A blinding surge of light filled the chamber, forcing Ryan to cover his eyes. The soldiers screamed as their weapons melted in the wave of energy. When the light faded, the chamber was silent. Lyra collapsed into Ryan's arms, her skin flickering faintly. The signal. It's sent. But I used too much energy. Ryan held her tightly. Stay with me. You can't fade now. She smiled weakly, touching his cheek. You're warm. That's what I liked about humans. Her hand slipped and her eyes began to dim. Ryan's heart clenched. The blue lines on his skin flickered wildly, his energy reacting to hers. No, you're not dying on me. But then a faint glow surrounded them both, soft and white. Her voice echoed in his mind, gentle as the first sunrise. Don't be afraid, Ryan. The bond will guide you. Just follow the light. And with that, she vanished into a swirl of shimmering dust, leaving only her voice in his heart. Ryan fell to his knees, staring at the glowing core. The bond still pulsed faintly within him. He whispered into the silence. I'll find you. Lyra, I promise. Outside, the alien moon trembled, and somewhere far above, the Queen felt the resonance ripple across space. The silence after the blast was unreal. The entire cavern glowed faintly, but Lyra was gone. Only a trail of silver dust floated where she had stood. The blue light running through Ryan Hale's veins flickered like fading stars. He could still feel her, faint far away, like a heartbeat echoing across space. He knelt there for a long time, breathing hard, the air still crackling with energy. Then a low hum rose from the ground. The crystals around him turned red. A voice deep and smooth filled the cavern. Human, it said, cold as ice. You have broken a sacred law. Ryan looked up. In front of the glowing core, light bent and twisted, forming a tall, ghostly figure cloaked in flowing silver energy. Her eyes burned like twin suns, the Velaran Queen. Ryan stood slowly. You must be the one giving all the orders. The Queen's face was calm, too calm. You carry forbidden energy, a bond between human and Velaran. It is an infection that must be cleansed. Ryan clenched his fists. I didn't choose this. Lyra did it to save us. The Queen tilted her head slightly. And now she's gone. Her spark erased because of your weakness. Her words hit like a knife, but Ryan stood his ground. You're wrong. She's still here. I can feel her. The Queen's eyes narrowed. A human pretending to understand Velaran emotion? You are a machine of flesh, unstable, noisy, driven by hunger and fear. Ryan's anger flared. And yet your people are the ones who forgot how to feel at all. For a moment, the Queen said nothing. Then she extended her hand. A beam of red light wrapped around Ryan, lifting him off the ground. The pain hit instantly, fire in every vein. Do not speak of things you cannot comprehend, she said. Your heart will be silenced. Ryan screamed, but even as the pain tore through him, he saw something strange. Faint blue motes of light floating in front of him, spinning like stars. A voice soft and familiar whispered inside his mind. Don't give up, Ryan. Follow the bond. It was Lyra. Her voice gave him strength. He pushed against the energy, forcing one arm free. The blue light from his skin grew brighter, spreading across the Queen's red beam like cracks in glass. The Queen stepped back, surprised. Impossible. Ryan dropped to the ground, panting. You wanted a test of the human heart? Here it is. He pressed his hand against the glowing floor. The crystals around him turned blue again, responding to the resonance inside him. Lyra's energy pulsed through his veins, alive, wild, unbroken. I won't let you erase her, he said through gritted teeth. Not while I'm still breathing. The Queen's image flickered, her voice low and sharp. You think love makes you strong. It only makes you weak. Ryan looked up at her, sweat running down his face. Then why are you afraid of it? For the first time, the Queen's calm expression faltered. Because love once destroyed our world, she said quietly. Our people lost themselves to emotion. Civilizations fell. I will never let it happen again. Ryan's voice softened. Then maybe you need to see what love really is. He reached into the pocket of his uniform and pulled out a small shard of crystal, one that had broken off from the heart. Nexus. Lyra's faint energy still shimmered inside it. He held it high. The shard glowed brighter, the pulse syncing with his heartbeat. Lyra's still in here. I can bring her back. The Queen raised her hand again, energy swirling around her. If you try, I'll crush you. Ryan took a step forward. Then do it, the Queen hesitated. The glow around her hand flickered. For a moment, the entire chamber seemed to hold its breath. Ryan closed his eyes. Lyra, if you can hear me, come back. The shard exploded in light. Blue energy spiraled upward, forming the faint image of Lyra. Her body made of pure light, her voice soft but steady. My Queen, she said, bowing her head slightly. Please stop this. The Queen's expression froze. Lyra, you should not exist. Maybe not, Lyra whispered, but neither should fear. You taught us to hide our hearts, but this human taught me what it means to truly live. Ryan felt her light reach toward him, wrapping around his arm. The resonance surged stronger. The Queen's energy flared red, but her voice shook. This connection will destroy you both. Lyra smiled faintly. Then let it destroy everything that keeps us apart. Ryan gripped her glowing hand. Together then. The two lights, blue and red, clashed in a storm that shook the entire cavern. Crystals shattered. Energy screamed through the air. The Queen tried to resist, but the resonance was too strong. A final wave of light burst outward, washing over everything. When the brightness faded, the Queen knelt on the ground, her silver cloak torn, her eyes wide with disbelief. The red glow around her was gone, replaced by soft, trembling blue. Ryan stood nearby, still holding Lyra's hand, her body flickering faintly beside him. The Queen looked up. What have you done? Ryan spoke quietly. We didn't destroy you. We showed you what you forgot. Lyra smiled through her fading form. Now you can feel again. The Queen lowered her head, tears, real tears, falling from her glowing eyes. It's been so long, she whispered. The blue light in the cavern softened. Lyra's image began to fade completely. Ryan held her close, desperate to keep her. No, he whispered. Stay with me. Lyra's fingers brushed his cheek one last time. I'll always be with you, Ryan, inside the bond. Then she was gone, leaving only a faint shimmer in the air and the echo of her heartbeat within his chest. Ryan stood silently, surrounded by light. The Queen rose, her tone now calm and human. You have passed the test of the heart, Ryan Hale. The Velarans owe you a debt. He looked at her with tired eyes. I didn't do this for a debt. I did it for her. The Queen nodded slowly. Then your kind may yet be worth saving. The light dimmed. The cavern grew still. And in the quiet that followed, Ryan felt it again. A soft warmth in his chest. Like Lyra's laughter hidden inside his heart. The first thing Ryan Hale heard was the sound of his own heartbeat. Slow, steady, real. Then came the quiet hum of machines. The air smelled like metal and clean filters, not the wild, glowing scent of the alien moon. He opened his eyes slowly, blinking against the harsh white light above him. He wasn't in the crystal caverns anymore. He was in a human medbay and aboard a starship. His ship. He sat up quickly, pain shooting through his head. A medical officer rushed in, wide-eyed. Commander Hale! Easy. You've been out for 3 days. Ryan stared at him, confused. 3 days? How did I? A patrol ship found your escape pod drifting near the Velaran border, the officer said. You were alone. No signs of any aliens. Ryan froze. Alone? He looked down at his hands. Clean human hands, but faint blue lines shimmered faintly beneath his skin, like light hiding under the surface. Where's Lyra? He whispered. The officer frowned. Sir? Ryan didn't answer. He swung his legs off the bed, ignoring the officer's protests. The floor felt strange beneath his feet, heavy after all that glowing light. He moved to the window and looked out. Through the glass, stars stretched endlessly, cold, silent, and bright. But one small planet glowed faint blue in the distance, pulsing softly, almost like it was alive. His chest tightened. He remembered her last words. I'll always be with you, Ryan, inside the bond. He pressed a hand to his heart and felt it. A faint warmth. A pulse that wasn't only his own. Later that day, Ryan was called to the briefing room. The ship's commander, an older man with a tired face, was waiting for him. You're lucky to be alive, Hale, the commander said. But we need answers. What happened out there? Ryan hesitated. How could he explain it? The crash, the sisters, the test of the heart, and the way he now carried part of an alien inside him? There was contact, Ryan said slowly. 2 Velaran sisters. Lyra and Sarah. The commander raised an eyebrow. Velarans? That's impossible. No one's seen them for a century. Ryan smiled faintly. Then I guess I broke the record, the commander sighed. You were gone 15 days, Hale. Whatever happened, it left strange readings in your bioscan. Half your neural patterns don't even look human anymore. Ryan's heart skipped. What do you mean? The commander turned a screen toward him. It showed an image of his brain activity, normal patterns mixed with glowing blue energy. It's like there's another consciousness linked to yours, the commander said softly. Almost like someone else is living inside your frequency. Ryan looked at the image, his throat dry. She's still here, he whispered. The commander frowned. Who? Ryan smiled faintly. A friend. That night, Ryan sat alone in his quarters. The ship drifted silently through space, the stars sliding past like slow rain. He placed the small shard of crystal, the one he'd somehow still had in his pocket, on the desk. It glowed faintly blue. Lyra, he whispered, can you hear me? For a moment there was silence. Then the glow brightened and her voice filled the room, soft like a memory. Always. Ryan's breath caught. Where are you? Everywhere you go, she said gently. Our bond lives as long as your heart beats. I can see what you see, feel what you feel. Ryan chuckled quietly. So I can't even hide my thoughts from you now? No, she teased softly. And I know you still blush when you remember me. He laughed under his breath. And yes, his cheeks warmed just a little. You're still impossible even as light. And you're still human and stubborn, brave, and full of heart, she said. Her tone turned softer. Ryan, the Queen changed. She remembered emotion again. Our people are free now to feel, to dream. You saved us. He looked out the window, eyes shining with quiet pride. No, Lyra. We saved each other. But as he gazed into the endless stars, a new light appeared. A small blue flare rising from the Velaran planet. It pulsed once, twice, then formed 2 faint shapes in the sky, 2 eyes, silver and bright. Lyra's voice whispered again. Do you see it? Ryan smiled.
How could I not?
That's where I'll wait, she said softly, until your journey ends and the stars bring you home. Ryan felt a lump in his throat. You really believe humans and Velarans can live side by side? If one human could make a queen cry, she said with a laugh, then anything is possible. The light in the crystal dimmed gently, as if she was resting. Ryan leaned back in his chair, still smiling. For the first time in years, space didn't feel empty. It felt alive, full of promise. He closed his eyes, letting the hum of the ship and the faint pulse in his chest blend into one rhythm. He faked sleeping to see her true intentions. He murmured softly, remembering the beginning of it all, but in the end it was his heart that woke up first. Outside the window, the blue planet shimmered, and somewhere beyond the stars, a voice whispered, gentle and proud, You passed the test. Ryan Hale, the heart always wins, and with that, the stars seemed to blink like they were smiling back.